Let's turn to the tariffs now, because President Trump is ramping up his trade war with Canada, as you probably have heard already. 50% tariffs take effect, Canada retaliating with import taxes of their own. And the president threatens even more on the Canadian auto industry. Our coverage includes a conversation with a local mayor in Canada in just a few minutes. But we begin tonight with former auto supply chain executive Jan Griffiths. She's also the host of the Automotive Leaders podcast. If you, like I do, have an interest in the automotive sector in this great state and in this country, you should listen to Jan. She does a great job. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So here we go. This went into effect on August 22nd. So day 4 that Canada has been hit with these tariffs from the U.S. And we are waiting, of course, till September 8th when Canada says they're going to do the retaliatory tariffs. But let's talk about Canada for a moment. $20 billion worth of Canadian goods with a 50% tax. 4 days in, how are they faring?
Yeah, well, I researched today that Mark Carney has said that, look, he's going to help his businesses out. He's going to find some money. He's going to find some relief to help them. He seems to be in this for the long haul. He's prepared. He's clearly not going to back down. It was amazing that we went from almost a deal, and it felt so close, didn't it? It really felt like we were close. And honestly, for me, it felt like there was hope for the relationship, the longer-term relationship, not just this deal. It was coming together, and then in the last hour, and both parties have blamed each other as to why the deal fell apart.
Is it safe to assume that perhaps President Trump, because of past dealings with Canada and other countries, assumed that somehow a deal would be reached? Canada would in some way become soft on certain measures and say, all right, let's do this. We got to have a good relationship. And when they didn't, it may have surprised President Trump as well.
I think that's quite possible, because the deal was basically the U.S. was going to start to ratchet down some tariffs, and then Canada was going to pull back on their retaliatory tariffs, and they were going to put the American alcohol back on the shelves. It was going in the right direction. And then all the reports tell us that in the last hour, this idea of reducing auto tariffs also included the heavy-duty truck. And the U.S. said, nope, that's not part of the deal. So we're hearing that was the thing that derailed it. Now, I'm sure that there were other things as well, but for me, it's greatly concerning for the longer-term implications. We have the USMCA, the agreement that binds us together with Canada, U.S., Canada, and Mexico. We are a strong force together in the auto industry. The real threat to us right now is China.
Right.
We should not be fighting with each other. We should be coming together strong as a strong auto sector and figuring out how to make this work.
So what does this do with the USMCA deal, the one that you're talking about with Mexico and Canada and the U.S.? Right now, with this kind of cold shoulder that we've thrown, $20 billion worth of a cold shoulder onto Canada, does this chill the entire thing and basically just take it off the table for now, the renegotiation?
Well, I mean, the renegotiation, no, to answer your question, no. It's going to continue. There is a mechanism that allows it to continue. But how difficult are those negotiations going to be? But we need to find a way through this.
I want to ask you a little bit about how this is going to affect us here at home. New car prices, I know you and I talked earlier, and you've been really prodigious with your notes and studying how this affects people. New car prices, repair bills, insurance, groceries, fish, building costs, manufacturing. I mean, talk for a moment about how everyday people like us are going to be hit by this in the next few days.
Well, if you've got the 50% in the retaliatory, which that's where we're at right now, and then we've got the administration threatening another 50% January 1 on autos. So autos, clearly, that's going to hurt. But when we start to look at the other areas that are impacting us, dairy, lumber, raw materials, what concerns me greatly, which is not just for auto, for multiple other industries, is aluminum. Because we buy almost 70% of our aluminum from Canada because of their hydropower. They can produce it more economically. And if that goes up, that will impact tin cans, appliances. Look around you. Look at how much of the products that you use every day have aluminum in them. It's significant.
And people don't realize how much the aluminum, even if it's an American-made product that we buy, how much of the pieces and parts of that come from Canada or Mexico. And I think that as a supply chain expert, you understand that inherently. It's almost silly to wonder about it for you. But for the rest of us, we don't always think about our dishwasher, our fridge, and how many pieces and parts of that came from Canada. But it's significant, you're saying.
We look at it. We look at an appliance. We look at something that's got an American badge on it, and it'll say assembled in America.
Sure.
But a lot of the componentry is coming from other countries. And it is the company, the business that imports the product that pays the tariff. And then they have to decide how much they're going to pass on to the consumer. But as these tariff levels ratchet up, businesses cannot absorb the tariffs. They may be absorbing a certain amount to this point.
But they got to pass it on to the consumer.
But they've got to pass it on, otherwise they're just not going to be able to survive.
I do want to ask you about a window for a deal here. Now, this is a political talk show, and you're a businesswoman. But I do want to ask you, like, tariffs are a tool in the toolbox. They've been used by Biden before. They've been used by other presidents before. This isn't a Trump exclusive. I mean, certainly this level and this ratcheting up is something that's unique to President Trump. However, what is it that you expect to see? I mean, how beneficial is it for the United States to get back to the negotiating table and figure something out?
Yeah, We've got to get away from using tariffs as a battering ram to try and force a deal. Tariffs, when they're targeted at a particular industry, at a particular country, or a product for a well thought out reason, absolutely. And really, people both sides of the aisle would agree with that.
Yeah, right.
But when you use tariffs as a battering ram to force pressure, to obtain leverage, then that's when it really does not impact either side.
Jan Griffiths making a distinction between a tool and a weapon, how the tariffs are used. Important. Tariffs aren't all bad, but certainly we'll have to watch this one really carefully because we have neighbors that are very important to us. And so, Jan, we thank you for your perspective on this topic here tonight. Always great to see you.